What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be working on the engine bay. So the goal for today's video is to get this valve cover off, which is pretty simple. I'm a little bit scared about taking the intake off because there's a lot of things connected to it. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the valve cover. From there, move on to the intake, and hopefully it doesn't take too long, and we're going to drop these off for powder coat. This is the first step in revamping this entire car. This car is going to be a completely different car by the time summer comes around, hopefully, if everything goes as planned. But this is the first step into making the car look a lot nicer. The car runs great right now. It does have a few small ticks and weird noises here and there that I don't like to hear, but the car runs fine, and we're gonna get those addressed later on in the future as well. The car is gonna go through a full engine rebuild eventually. Right now, I think I'm just gonna fix up and redo the entire head. My plan is to throw in a new cam in there, a 288 cam. That thing sounds amazing. And then get all the new valves, rocker arms, rocker shaft, all that kind of stuff redone on the cylinder head. And then maybe down in the future, work on the block itself, get new pistons, stuff like that. But for the time being, we're gonna go ahead, take these two pieces off and get them sent off to powder coat. For the valve cover, at least, it's super simple. It's literally just these bolts right here. I think there's 6 of them or 8 of them all around. So just gonna go ahead and remove those. Now that I'm noticing, I'm actually missing one right here. So I'm not sure why that's not there, but I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And there should be a bracket right here that connects to this as well, but not sure where that went either. I know this car has had some rockers replaced in the past. So maybe when the last person was working on it, they just forgot to put that bracket back on. Let's go ahead and get this situated and get it pulled apart. So I got the 8 screws off, or the 7 in my case, which should be 8. But now you just want to pull this back a little bit, move all this wiring out the way as much as you can. And like I mentioned before, you're usually going to have a bracket right here that connects to this. So since we don't have that, it just saves me some work. You just want to throw this hose off right here. I'm going to need a flathead to push that back, and I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick and then pull this entire valve cover off. Got it. So now I think we should be good to pull this entire valve cover off. So it is a little bit tight. Just like that. Got it out. I'm not sure why I didn't do this earlier, but I didn't have gloves on and my hands got super dirty when I have a box, like a big box, gloves just sitting right here. So might as well put them on. As you saw, we got the valve cover off, and I'm trying to find the best way to take the intake off. And it looks pretty easy, just a lot of stuff are connecting to it, which is kind of scary for someone like me. I just have this weird fear that I'm not gonna put something back where it should be, and I'm never gonna be able to find out what I didn't put back, and then the car's never gonna start, and it's gonna be my fault. But I'm sure it's just me. So now we have all this that we need to disconnect, and then we have this air box. I'm actually thinking about taking this air box off right now, since we have to take it off next week either way. And now that I'm saying it out loud, that does seem like the better idea. So I'm just gonna go ahead, take that off now, save myself time for next week's video, and get that done. Look at that big old turbo down there. Yeah, look at that, brand spanking new. Just replaced that a few weeks ago, a few months ago now. But we got the airbox out, got to sit it right down there with the rest of all this junk. But now we got to figure out what we need to take off here to get this intake off. So when I have stuff like this just sitting around and I can put it back on where it should sit so I don't lose it, I think that just helps me keep track of things a lot more. Now we don't have to worry about that. This can go sit back here so I don't drop the engine bay, and start moving on to all this right here. So now I just gotta get the entire intake off, and I think I'm just gonna put the camera down because there's a lot of videos showing how to do this, and I'm just gonna go ahead and get it done since the video is not actually about how to take it off, but how to powder coat or getting the powder coat done. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the camera down, get all of this, and once I pull it off, I'll pick the camera back up and show you guys how it looks. But after a few hours, I finally got the intake out. That thing was such a hassle. I didn't know how many parts connected to it. So I got the fuel rail right here. I got the other part of the fuel rail right here. I got the whole throttle body out sitting right here. I still need to put some paper towels in there so that nothing gets inside the engine bay, or nothing gets inside the actual engine. And then I did go ahead and plug up the pressure washer. As you can see, everything is wet. I got some engine degreaser right there. And I went ahead and cleaned as much of the intake and the valve cover as possible because I don't want to drop it off dirty. I thought, why not get as much grime off as possible before I give it to the dude, whoever's powder coating it, just to make his life a little bit easier. But that being said, before I put everything back in, once it gets back, I do need some more, I am gonna need some new gaskets. So especially I need the throttle body gasket. I forgot the name of this one, but that gasket, and then I'm gonna need the gasket that goes around the intake. So those three things mainly. Pulling everything apart, there's a bunch of other things that I think I'm gonna need in the future. Like these fuel injectors just look beyond dirty. So I'm gonna clean them up a little bit, make sure the O-rings are okay so that when I put it back in, I don't have any leaks like that. But yeah, this is gonna be a long process. It might take a while for me to put everything back in, but I'll show you guys the intake once they're back in my hands. Ignore all the mess, but I got the intake and the valve cover loaded up. Now, let's go ahead and drop it off. It is a 30-minute drive, so I'm gonna drive down, drop it off, and hopefully you guys get to see it within this video. Maybe I might make it 2 parts, because it is gonna take a while to get that installed again. So, we'll see.